Finding a good anime to watch or manga to read is hard, and searching the internet for the next best one can be cumbersome or dark at times. So not only will I give you the top 10 best anime or manga to read in 2023, I'll also give you a few reasons why I chose these for my list. Here are some rules to go by. First, this is only based on manga and not webtoons, as I'll have a different video for webtoons later. Second, this is just my top 10, so if you don't like it, so you could put your top 10 in the comments below and we could have a list off. Third, my goal is to be as spoiler free as I could be. Fourth, I like action. My last rule is I'm only going over manga that I read in 2023 or that was released in 2023. So anything beforehand is out. So now let's get into it. Everybody's like, ooh, Ma, what's your top 10? Ooh, Ma, what's your number 10?
What I got on? They be like, hey, Brandon, what you got on? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. Don't worry about it, sweetheart.
Well, starting with my number 10 is Kindergarten Wars. And Kindergarten Wars star two main characters being Doug and Rita in this kindergarten to where it's the world's safest kindergarten. And they're criminals who have to protect this kindergarten for a year to get their freedom. Now, the reason why they're protecting this is still unknown. However, all these assassins come to try and attack this kindergarten, and Rita, which is supposed to be the biggest assassin in the world, as is kind of a story of unrequited love to where Doug, who's a swindler, is in love with Rita. Rita is looking for love every time somebody attacks the kindergarten. She asks all these different questions of like, hey, do you like this? Do you like that? Do you like this? And anytime they give her an answer that she doesn't like, she just shoots them, and it's kind of funny. So like, if you like something like that, and if you like the look of like what the manga style of like Beelzebub look like, then you probably want to give this a try. My number 9 is Dan Da Dan. Now this is a story about two main characters, Momo and Okuran, to where one believes in aliens while the other believes in the supernatural, but in some twist of fate, the two worlds intertwine to where Momo, who also have these psychic powers, ends up trying to save the world that way, as well as Okuran, who ends up getting these supernatural powers, and they basically are on this search to get Okuran's golden balls back. The reason why they took his balls, well, you have to find out. Now this anime is different in terms of the style and the plot and what it brings, because right now as it's going, I don't really know what the end game is. However, just everything is just entertaining to read week by week or watch whenever the anime comes out. My number 8 is Yom No Sugai. And this is a story to where two main characters, brother and sister, one named Yura, the other named Asa, and they live in this village to where Asa, the sister, is just kept in this prison for a long time in her life. While Yura, the brother, is just a hunter-gatherer. He goes out, he hunts, he does all this type of things to just try and provide for his family. Now, one day, this militant group comes in and just kills everybody basically in their village to where they're trying to find both Yura and Asa. And the reason why is they are basically this yin and yang of different like demons and whatnot, to where Yura basically have two of the strongest demons in history. However, they just fell asleep for the longest and like they're getting used to their powers, while Asa has this other strong power. And these families, these different factions, are trying to search for them, kill them, and use them to make that faction or that family the strongest in this time period. So if you like that, and if you like Full Metal Alchemist, which the author of this story is the same author who created Full Metal Alchemist, well, you'll like it. And it's something that just started this year, and it's pretty entertaining so far. Okay, moving on to number 7. It's My Hero Academia. And man, this is a good one. Why is it number 7? Now this year, My Hero's been going crazy with the story and the plot, and it's in its final arc. So like, if this is something that you haven't started yet, start it. And if it's something that you're watching currently, is great. This new season's coming out, about to start the final season, and I'm just excited because it's just building up to being something great. This story is about a world of quirks, and quirks are like these superpowers. each person with a superpower can become a hero if they take these special courses, which are hero courses. Now, the main hero, Izuku Midoriya, he started off without any powers. He had no quirks, but he wanted to become a hero. Now, there's this guy, All Might. He's the strongest dude in Japan at the very least. He comes in and he basically passes on his powers through some unknown means to where Izuku has the strongest power in history. Now, he isn't a One Punch Man. He doesn't know how to use this power immediately or anything like that. So it's something that he's learning, and he always tends to break his bones each time he uses it. But as the story progresses, he starts to get stronger and use his powers a little bit better, and he cries a lot less. I know a lot of people do not like this show because he cries so much. However, just the plot and the story itself is so great, so that's why it's my number 7. My number 6 is Four Knights of the Apocalypse. This is a sequel to Seven Deadly Sins. If you haven't seen Seven Deadly Sins, then you probably want to watch that first or skip this, because it's a little bit of a spoiler of what I'm gonna tell you next. However, if you don't care, here you go. Four Knights of the Apocalypse stars this character named Percival, and you're following him, and Percival is somebody to where he's said to be one of 4 different characters that destroy the world that Arthur created from Seven Deadly Sins. Now, one of the other knights is Ban's son, so if you like those characters, you'll see a lot of these guys. And Ban's son, he is a beast. So the basis of this story is Percival starts out to where he's with his grandfather, and his father comes in and kills his grandfather and tries to kill him because he's said to be one of the Knights of the Apocalypse. Now, his father is ruthless and he's under Arthur, and so Percival, who hasn't fought before, learning how to fight as well as fend for himself, to ask and see why his father is trying to kill him under Arthur, who's thought to be a good character from the previous series. In this one, I wonder what's going on. Going to my top 5.
Hey, Patrick.
What?
I thought of something funnier than 24.
Let me hear it.
25.
5 is Dead Mount Death Play. And this show stars the Corpse God, and where it's about a necromancer who was so strong in his previous life, wanted to start a new life, and he basically kills himself in his old life to start anew. And whenever he wakes up in this new body to where he actually just died by this other character. Now, in this new world, it's the modern day age, so magic and all that isn't as known anymore. However, the Corpse God himself still has his magic. So he's in this world to where all these different things, being the police, all these different myths, and these myths are guys just as strong as when he was back in the day. So it's a little bit harder for him to have a carefree life. So what does the Corpse God do to start living a good life? Well, you'll have to read and find out. The reason why I like it is it's a pretty unique spin to reincarnation, and you know, there's a lot of reincarnation stories out there, but I like this one, so give it a shot. Number 4 is Jujutsu Kaisen, to where it stars a main character named Yuji, and Yuji is kind of a beast. Well, not really in the terms of sorcerers. However, he's in this world to where he accidentally ate a special grade cursed finger, which is said to be different, which these special grade curses are something like demons or monsters or whatnot. However, he somehow ate the one to the strongest curse of the history of curses and became the host of that guy. And it's just a story of where he meets all these different sorcerers who have powers, who could destroy and fight these different curses, and he just wants to be able to live and die the way he really wants to. However, the Jujutsu sorcerers wants to execute this guy once he eats all 10 fingers of the strongest curse in history, just to kill this curse out for good. Now, does that actually happen? You'll have to see. And this book is in its final arc, so if you haven't seen it or if you don't know what I'm talking about, give it a shot. Time for my top 3.
What school y'all go to?
Southwest.
For real?
Yeah.
It's only my 3rd day out here. I don't know.
My number 3 is Kaiju number 8. Kaiju number 8 is a different type of story to something like Attack on Titans, but to me, it's better than Attack on Titans. It stars a character named Kafka, and it's a story about how he and a childhood friend lives in this universe to where there's these kaiju, which are also monsters, and they come in different magnitudes, kind of like earthquakes, but the stronger the magnitude, the stronger the kaiju or monster. And in this world, these guys could wear like these suits to where it unlocks like their innate ability, and they have all these powers. And Kafka is a guy who tried to train for the special forces to be able to defeat these monsters, because he made a promise to a childhood friend together that they'll defeat and destroy all of the monsters in the world. Yeah, it's kind of cliche, but in this story, every time Kafka actually tried to be in the special forces, he failed because he could never bring out any percentage of his innate ability. And like, the more towards 100% you could bring out, the stronger you actually are, to where his childhood friend Mina basically have this immense power to where she could just shoot everything in one shot and just blow it up. Like, yeah. So she becomes a captain, and now he is a garbage man. And as a garbage man, what he has to do is just clean up all the mess that they make by killing all these monsters in the world. Kind of sort of like if you were to see Pacific Rim. One monster that he was cleaning one day ended up attaching to him, and he ended up turning into one of those kaiju. Now, he's the only person in the universe able to turn into a kaiju. However, because they are trying to kill kaiju, he's trying to hide his identity, but he's super strong, super fast, and he has all these abilities to be able to catch up to his childhood friend and take that test one last time. The reason why I like this is because the author of this book seems to know how he wants it to end in its episodic chapters. And because this is in my top 3, this is something you should definitely give a try. My number 2 is a bit controversial, and that is One Piece. One Piece is an amazing show, and the reason why it's number 2 is because if you're just getting into this, it's hard to start because it's about 1,000 something chapters. However, those are probably the best 1,000 chapters you're going to read in any story. It's a story about pirates and superpowers, and what started the pirate era is the king of pirates, Gold D. Roger, came in, went on stage and said, "Hey man, I got all this treasure, I got all this money, I got all of everything." And he was the most notorious pirate in the world. And he said he left all of it in One Piece, which is the name of the show. And it stars this character named Luffy, who is a rubber guy, which also have one of those powers which are named devil fruit. Whenever you eat a devil fruit, you lose your ability to swim. So these are pirates who goes out to sea knowing that they may lose their life at any moment if their ship sinks. Now, Luffy is a guy who's trying to build up his crew and find the One Piece, and it's all these different adventures about hardship, about love, crazy backstories, everything. And if you read this previous chapter, you'll understand why Kuma is now my favorite character. It is so much to say about this show, and if you know an anime fan, I'm sure there's somebody who always say, "Hey, you gotta read, hey, you gotta watch One Piece, hey, you gotta watch One Piece." And then guess what? I'll be another person to say, "You better watch One Piece. Do it." I know it's like Grey's Anatomy, I know it's long, but it's probably one of the best things that you could do. Now, before I get to my number 1, I want to go through some honorable mentions. One of them will be the time I reincarnated as a slime. The next will be One Punch Man. After that will be The Ice Blade Magician Shall Rule the World. And there's other translations of that. And the last one is Boruto. Now, Boruto is good, but they kind of set it up to be Naruto, but the Sasuke version. So that's why I didn't make it to the list for my 2023 list. Now, my number 1 show or book to read or watch is...
It's time for the moment you've been waiting for.
Sakamoto Days. Why Sakamoto Days? This is just like an anime version of John Wick. And if you like action and the way action looks in comics or anime or what, this is the show for you. Starring a guy named Taru Sakamoto. He's probably one of the craziest assassins. He just Mr. Sakamoto, he just be throwing hands. It's a story about Mr. Sakamoto, who's one of the greatest assassins, and how he retires and gained a little bit of weight. And all he wanted to do is just live a peaceful life and retire. However, every now and then, assassins come to the shop and aim for some mischief just because they heard the great Sakamoto works there. And man, does he deliver. Whenever he gets serious, for some reason, he just transforms and goes back into his skinny form. And he just, ooh, the way it just looks, the way they throw hands, and just everything in the show looks so supernatural. They have characters who can read minds, characters who can turn invisible, some of the smartest characters in the world, characters who could just use magnets of any type of material. It's just crazy, man. And like the plot of the story is amazing, and it's basically, there's this organization of assassins, and there's the Order, which are the top assassins. Everything about this show is just beautiful. If this is something, if there's anything you have to watch or read, is Sakamoto Days, and that is the book to read right now. And if you don't like my top 10, say something. However, I don't care. I still have fun. I hope you did too.